So I have a question for you. Is inventory and investment? Think about that a moment. And many people answer yes to that question, but then I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, and that is, what inventory item have you ever purchased that has appreciated in value? If you look at, an investment, it's something that appreciates in value. Well, inventory is not an investment. Inventory is a means of making money by either using or selling the product. But inventory sitting on the shelf is a cost of doing business, and indeed can be a very, very expensive one for your practice. So one of the things that I really want to talk about today is a little bit about inventory and how we manage it within our practice. And as owners and practice managers, there's really only two expenses that we can really control. Those are inventory costs and your support staff costs. So we're going to focus a little bit on the inventory. First of all, if you look at inventory as a percentage of your gross revenue, typically it's going to run between maybe 15–18%. And if you look at our graphic here, I'm actually breaking it down, and this is based on the Well-Managed Practice Study, but drugs and medical supplies run about 10%, heartworm, flea tick products 4.5%, diets 3.1%, over-the-counter products about 0.4%. So if you're doing all that in the practice, we're looking about 18%, but typically we're going to be somewhere between 15 and 18%. Now, if your inventory costs are too high, once you figure that out, once you look at those numbers, what are the causative reasons for that? And the number one causative reason is shelf life. Shelf life is defined as the time from which a product comes into your practice to which time it is used or sold. Do you want to know what the optimum shelf life is for an inventory item? Maybe you guessed it, but it's only a minute or a second. You only want what you need at that point in time. So I really want us to, again, focus on shelf life. And the two subcomponents of shelf life are going to be reorder point and reorder quantity. Reorder point is the point to which you allow your inventory to get down to before you order more. And reorder quantity is the amount that you order once it hits the reorder point. So what should be our realistic shelf life? The experts, pretty much normally say 30 to 60 days. Nothing should come into your practice and sit on your shelf for longer than 30, 60 days. So if you want to really focus in on the reorder point and the reorder quantity, one of the ways to do that is look in the computer and see how much you are using on a monthly basis. And let's say we're using 12 of a given item on a monthly basis. Set your reorder point at 12. So when it gets down to 12, we would order another month's supply, another 12, and even if it came in tomorrow, we have a 2-month shelf life, which is your maximum shelf life. That would be perfect. So it's really not all that complicated. You want to get down to about 1 month supply, even 3 weeks, and then when it gets down to that, again, order another month's supply. One of the best ideas ever, and if you haven't heard of this, I think you'll really find it's going to be an awesome idea. It's called the red dot idea. And what I would have you do is go out and get a bunch of red dots from office supply store and have somebody affix a red dot to all of your inventory items, let's say on the 1st of the month. And then 30 days later, a month later, go and look and see how many things are still sitting there with red dots. And 60 days later, look, and 90 days, ideally they should all be gone within 60 days, but it will tell you what are the items that are really costing you money within your practice. So that's a great way to really kind of visualize that and see what's going on from a shelf life point of view. So one of the biggest reasons that inventory costs are going to be out of line is going to be our shelf life. Now, we all get these salespeople coming in, and they're very, very well-meaning individuals, but they come in and they want to sell you a product, and they're going to save you some percentage if you buy 6 gross of these, or some very high number. And the question that you need to be asking yourself is, can you utilize that product within that 30 or 60 days? And if not, it may not be a good deal for you. And in fact, the only time I would break that shelf life rule is if you get delayed billing or if the savings is over 40%, which is very, very unlikely. So if you get, let's say, a 60-day delayed billing, then you can buy 4 months worth of product, and that still would be acceptable for your practice. So as managers and owners, one of the things I really want you to focus on is inventory. Hopefully once we've got that set up, we can turn that over efficiently and really help our bottom line. And I think you're going to find it really can make a big difference within your practice.